Hi everyone. In this video, we will learn about load balancing. In the earlier videos, we have discussed about caching and we have discussed about clustering. I will share the link of these videos in this load balancing video description. Okay, so coming to load balancing, what it means distributing the incoming traffic across multiple server instances to prevent overload. Suppose if the one server is overloaded with some traffic, then load balancing, what it will do, it will distribute the traffic to some another instance. Okay, so for this we use NGINX or AWS Elastic Load Balancer to distribute traffic between Express.js instances. Okay, and it is very useful for the high availability. It prevents downtime by redirecting traffic from a failed instance to a healthy one. Okay, suppose if one instance is failed, so what it will do, load balancer will distribute traffic to a healthy instance, that is running one. Okay, so we will use NGINX with Express.js. NGINX as a load balancer. Okay, so let's assume we are running two instances of same Express.js application on ports 3000 and 3001. Okay, so what NGINX will do, it will forward the incoming traffic to these instances. Okay, suppose the application running on port 3000 has some traffic, so NGINX will distribute the traffic to port 3001. So our application will run on 3001 port. Okay, so this is the configuration of NGINX file, which ensures that NGINX distributes traffic between these two instances, 3000 and 3001. Okay, so if 3000 has some traffic, NGINX will automatically distribute the traffic across 3001. Okay, to prevent the overload on 3000. Okay, so this is the configuration. Upstream Express app, here we will mention port 3000 and 3001, and based on the traffic it will distribute the load. Okay, so now this application has multiple instances which are 3000 and 3001. Okay, so our application will run on two ports, 3000 and 3001, based on the traffic. And in the production scenario, whenever application get deployed, we can deploy multiple instances of the same app using Docker. So currently there are two ports. We can assign many ports also. Okay, that is, we can deploy multiple instances to distribute our load, and we can deploy it using Docker. Okay, so running the application, we need to create two .env files with ports 3000 and 3001, because here we are currently using two ports only, so we need to use two .env files. Okay, we need to create two .env files. So we need to start two instances of the application, one at port 3000 and one at port 3001. Okay, and we need to set up NGINX to load balance between these two instances. Okay, so let's jump to the code. We can take the code from here, environment variables, which we have discussed. So here what we have done, I will share the description link in this video on how to use environment variables. In that video, we have used .env package, okay, to load the environment variables. In our application, we are using 3000 and 3001 port, okay, so that we can assign in .env files. So this is the .env file. Okay, here we have mentioned port. We can mention 3000, and in another .env file, we can mention port as 3001, and load balancer will pick that port based on the load, based on how it distributes the traffic to which port. Okay, so firstly we will import Express module, then we need to import .env package to load the environment variables. Okay, so const.env is also required, .env. Then we need to create an Express application. So now we need to configure the .env. This will load the variables from .env to process.env. So .env has port. It will be transferred to process.env using .env.config. Okay. So it will load the variables from .env to process.env so that we can use it in our application. Okay. So next we can define a route to use the environment variables. Here it will, we can comment this code for now. Okay. So we can start the server and we can say here, sometimes the port will come as 3000 and sometimes the port will come as 3001. Okay. Based on the distribution from NGINX, based on this code. So if 3000 has some traffic, then NGINX will transfer the port to 3001. So here the server will be listen on port 3001. Okay. And if in any case NGINX transfers the load to 3000, okay, means port 3000 is working, then our server will listen on port 3000. So this is the concept of load balancing. Okay, this is how it optimizes our Express application. And guys, I will be sharing my GitHub account and you can get the code from there. In the description, I will share that. And you can find the complete code for this tutorial on my GitHub account. The GitHub repository link I am sharing in the description. You can feel free to explore, clone or contribute.